Good evening, boxing fans, and welcome back. Am I the only one who thought that Sergey Kovalev's official Crusher logo looked a bit like a cheap knockoff of the Kmart logo? This is Rummy's Corner. So the fight between Sergey Kovalev and Isaac Chilemba wound up being a lot more interesting than I think most people were anticipating, myself included. And when you look at this fight, I think there are basically two ways of viewing the situation. On one hand, if you're Sergey Kovalev, I think you're in a position where you got a lot of good experience and a lot of good rounds against a guy who does a pretty good imitation of Andre Ward as far as preparation for that matchup goes. And on the other hand, if you're Andre Ward and you've been waiting for a fight where Kovalev might show some vulnerabilities and might have some weaknesses on display that are potentially there to be exploited, I don't think you need to look any further than this matchup for a dream scenario to help you draw up a blueprint. Now, I think taken together those two things, we're looking at a situation where, for me, the fight between Kovalev and Ward has become even more interesting a prospect than it already was. In the first round of this fight, I thought Kovalev came out and it looked like it was going to be another typical Kovalev fight. He was stalking Chilemba. Chilemba looked a little uncertain of himself, wasn't exactly sure what Kovalev was bringing to the table. Kovalev has a nice jab with some really good power behind it as far as jabs go, and it looked like it was going to turn into a typical Kovalev fight. Over the next few rounds, round 2, round 3, especially round 4, round 5, and round 6, I thought Kovalev was winning most of those rounds. Out of those 6 rounds, I only gave Chilemba the 4th. I thought he had a case for the 6th maybe, but I gave him the 4th round. I know HBO's official commentator Harold Letterman had given him the 5th and the 6th round, but not the 4th. In any case, despite winning most of the rounds, Kovalev didn't look the sharpest he's been, and I think that had a lot to do with what Chilemba was doing. And if you're Andre Ward, one of the things I think that you gotta find encouraging is the type of things that were giving Chilemba success. Now again, Chilemba wasn't having enough success to win rounds in most instances, but he was being effective at neutralizing Kovalev's offense, and that's no easy feat. To date, only one other guy had ever gone 12 rounds with Kovalev, and that's the great Bernard Hopkins. One of those things Chilemba was having success with over the first half of the fight was using his feints. It seemed that whenever Chilemba would feint, he'd get a reaction from Kovalev that would buy him some time so that he could reposition and try to anticipate his next move. His feints were very effective. He was also effective with his left hand, both with his jab and occasionally with his left hook. These are weapons that Hopkins really didn't bring to the table at this late stage of his career. But Chilemba showed glimpses of a good jab and a good hook, and he occasionally even landed some good body punches in there. These are all things that Andre Ward does well. Andre Ward has a very good jab. Andre Ward has an excellent left hook, perhaps one of the very best in the business today. If Chilemba was having success against Kovalev with these type of weapons, again, success in spots, but he was being effective somewhat. This is encouraging stuff for Andre Ward, I think. But then the discouraging part for Andre Ward came along in round 7. And in the 7th round, I said to myself at one point earlier in the round, not only did I think Kovalev looked a little unmotivated or distracted, I thought he started looking uncharacteristically tired in the 7th round. And I found this especially surprising because Kovalev, I've seen him seemingly put out a lot more effort and a lot more work in, where he hasn't seemed so exhausted that late in the fight. But in any case, no sooner did I think this, Kovalev put a nice little series of punches together, and he dropped Chilemba near the end of the 7th. And as Roy Jones mentioned in the HBO broadcast, I believe the combination started downstairs and finished upstairs. Chilemba went down. I thought he looked pretty badly hurt, honestly, and then Kovalev started coming into for the attack, and all of a sudden, He looked motivated, and Kovalev has been known to be a pretty damn good finisher. So he got in there, he was going at him, but Chilemba used his craftiness to survive and make it to the end of the round. In the 8th round, I think Chilemba was trying to regroup a little bit, and then Kovalev caught him again, and it looked like toward the end of that round that he had him in serious trouble once again, but Chilemba remained on his feet. There was a little less action in the 9th round, and then over the last 3 rounds, I didn't think Chilemba did poorly. I actually gave him the 11th round. At the end of the day, it was a unanimous decision victory for Sergey Kovalev. I had it 118 to 108 myself, again having given him rounds 4 and round 11. I think maybe you can make a case for a couple other rounds for him, but at the end of the day, on a night where I don't think Kovalev was too motivated, on a night where I think he did have distractions, on what may very well have otherwise just been an off night against a style that's tricky, Kovalev still virtually won every round of the fight. And at no point in the fight was he ever in serious trouble, even if he did look a little winded and a little frustrated at times. This was a good win for Sergey Kovalev. These were some really good rounds for Sergey Kovalev in preparation for the great Andre Ward. I don't think you could ask for better preparation. And when you think of it this way, I definitely think Chilemba was much better preparation for Kovalev going into a fight with Ward than I think Alexander Brand is going to be for Ward going into the fight with Kovalev. So Kovalev got some good work and good rounds in, but if you're Andre Ward, he did show some weaknesses in this fight. He did show some vulnerabilities that if anybody out there is able to expose more efficiently, more effectively than Chilemba, than Bernard Hopkins, that guy is Andre Ward with his ring IQ, with his skills, with his athleticism and his ability to adapt. The fact that Chilemba was having some success with his feints, with his movement, with his control of the distance, with his jab, with his left hook, with his punches to the body, with his ability to hold on with Kovalev in a clinch. He didn't do much infighting out of the clinch, and Ward's one of the best infighters in the game. He didn't do much infighting, but he wasn't getting overpowered or out-muscled in these clinches either. Chilemba was intelligently using the clinch without the offensive output that usually comes in a Ward clinch. All of these things combined, Kovalev not having the gas, maybe being a little frustrated at missing more than he's accustomed to without finding a way to deliver his devastating power shots. I think this just makes the whole fight a hell of a lot more interesting. Now, as I've mentioned time and time again on this show, I don't know shit about boxing. So I have no idea what goes into the preparation for guys like Andre Ward and Virgil Hunter. But all I know is that duo, that team, they've had a lot of fucking success together, so they're definitely doing something right. And on the other side, with John David Jackson and Sergey Kovalev, they know what the fuck they're doing too. And I really like everything there is about this matchup. I think Kovalev got the best preparation he could have hoped for given the circumstances going into a mega bout this November with Ward. I really think we got a great fight on the horizon. 2 elite pound-for-pound talents, both in the absolute primes of their career, meeting this year in what will be the best fight of boxing on the near horizon. I can't wait. This is Rummy. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much, and have a good evening, or a good night, or a good whatever part of the day you're now.